We're letting more viewers know that you're live. People, you can make a request. I'm trying to write something. Định viết cái gì đó nhưng mà không tập trung được. Tập speaking một xíu ha. BB cam. We can do a bit of speaking practice until 11:30, that is. Mình có thể tập speaking một xíu. Phải viết nội dung gì nhỉ? Các bạn thể tập, có thể request nha. You can make some request if you want. We're gonna wait for a moment. Speaking test. Speaking forecast. We can do a bit of speaking practice, but what are we supposed to talk about? No regular. Wow, không có một bạn nào kiểu quen mặt luôn. Sports team. Have you ever been part of a sports team? Này để speaking lạ ha. Sports team thì bình thường. Gifts, okay. Day off này. When was the last time you had a day off? How can I improve my speaking skills? Thế em cần phải có cái điểm đầu đã. Sau đấy thì điểm em định em đang aim đến là điểm nào. Đấy, mà có hai thông số đấy thì nó sẽ dễ advise hơn. Wow, hold on. If you're... Hold on, just a moment. If you're ready for a speaking test, you can hop on. You can make a request. Có thể request để làm mock test nha. Trong khoảng 1 tiếng, sau đấy mình sẽ cần phải đi ngủ. That should look fine. Ôi, sáng đèn lên phát là không có lông mày luôn này. Ủa, sao TikTok nó boof kinh vậy? People, if you want to do some speaking mock test, you should make a request. Họ có thể gì nhỉ? Ấn vào cái nút request đó. Do we have a nút request somewhere here? Well, if you're not requesting, then I'm gonna read out a few Sample answers. Bé bỏng. Ủa, có chứ nhỉ? Không có. Phương Thanh. Có cái nút request à? We can do a bit of speaking practice now. Hobby. Typing. Do you prefer typing or handwriting? I would definitely go with the former because my handwriting is awful. Right. The funny thing was that when I was younger, I was actually one of the members of the team that would go on to compete in like handwriting competitions. I didn't get any prize, but I did the best with what I got. I did the best I could with what I got. And they request about the speaking nhá. I hear some Aussie accent. No, I don't have any Aussie accent. I have a very Vietnamese accent. Can you give me details about your course? Em thể xem trong bio nhé. Bio như là bio hình như là
em chào anh
chung. Hello anh.
Yes. How are you?
Hold on. Give me a moment. I haven't even turned up the volume.
Yeah.
Wow. You're a man?
Yes, I am a man.
Ah. Has anyone ever asked you that question so blatantly?
I don't think so. Like normally they would know that I am a man based on my voice.
How about based on your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, my name is Thế Anh.
Oh, Thế Anh. Okay, yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do the speaking test?
Yes, I do.
And do you have a goal?
Yes, I do have a goal, and I want to achieve maybe a higher score. So perhaps I think, if possible, I think I would like to do the speaking part 3.
Okay, fine. But you have a number in your mind. It's just that you're not willing to tell us.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Before we start, I'd like to address some questions here. Anh ơi, để được 9 pronunciation còn thiếu những tiêu chí gì ạ? Ủa? 9 thì có thiếu cái gì đâu em? 9 là nói rất cái phát âm rất tự nhiên mà. Đúng hết đấy. Đúng hết hoặc là đúng đến cái mức mà người ta tin rằng là mình đúng hết. Hay là khi mình có lỗi người ta cũng không nhận ra được. Thế là 9. Anh ơi, em mới thi hồi 21 tháng 6 được có 6.5 speak. Em thi hồi nó siêu nhanh nên tiếc gì đâu ấy. Nghĩa là nếu như mà kiểu mất kiểm soát ấy thì nó hơi phí thật. Anh có dạy trong Tết không ạ? Không, mấy ngày thôi mà. Tết còn mấy ngày còn phải tranh thủ làm gì? Nhưng mà đúng là Tết mình không việc gì làm mấy, cứ ngủ thôi. Okay.
Yeah.
We can start speaking now.
Yeah.
Let me dig up some speaking part 3 questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about making plans. So, do you think that it is important for people to plan ahead of time?
I think that I don't think so. I believe that going with the flow is actually better. Like in some situations, I think that making a plan can be unnecessarily complex. I mean, sometimes you would have to think of a lot of different things. For example, when you like go traveling to a different place, planning out the itinerary can feel more like an uphill battle since there are, I would say, like your luggage, your personal belongings, and stuff like that, which I believe is quite time consuming. However, I think that for formal meetings or interviews, it's advisable for people to plan ahead.
Thank you. But then, how can children learn to make effective plans?
I think that in order to make effective plans, first of all, I think that children themselves, they do need to have a sense of purpose, which it basically means that they need to know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So for example, if they're about to maybe take a test, then I think that they need to know all of the marking criteria and all of the format of the test so that they can really plan ahead, and then they can ace the test effortlessly.
Do you think that choosing a college major can define a person's future career?
Yes, I believe that choosing a major for students, especially for high schoolers, can actually make or break their future. Because I think that it would be of great significance for students to know exactly what they're truly good at, right? What they're capable of and what their shortcomings are. So, for instance, if they happen to choose something that doesn't align with their interests and passions, I doubt they can ever succeed later on in life, right? So I think they should, just take a step back and wait.
Is that always the case? Like there's no exception?
I think that sometimes there are some people who are not really academically inclined, and they do want to maybe go off the beaten path by choosing a field that is not academically related. For example, like being an athlete, or perhaps being, I don't know, a journalist, right? So
But you're saying that being a journalist is not exactly an academically driven career.
yes, it actually is, but I think I'm not quite sure when it comes to fields that are not academically related. First of all, I'm thinking about athletes, right? Because I think that the reason why athletes don't really have to study that much is that they need to focus more on their consistent practice and relentless training, right? Yes.
Wait for now. Pretty fluent. I understood everything you said. The pacing was natural for the most part. I mean, there were certainly parts where you sounded a bit out of your element, like you were trying to patch the ideas together. But for the most part, I understood everything you said. There was that one particular sentence that stood out for the wrong reason for me. You said, ace the test effortlessly. That was an overkill. When you ace the test, it means that you successfully completed. What's the point of adding the word effortlessly?
Yeah, I can't quite remember what that. Yeah, I do remember that phrase, but I can't remember the context that I was trying to put in the word. So ace the test, it means like, yeah, to successfully do something with ease.
Okay, so good. We have already wrapped up the test. What do you want to get? A score, some feedback?
Yes, a score as well as some feedback in terms of the whole four criteria, if you can. Yeah.
I gave you the feedback already.
Yes.
As for the four criteria, I would say the overall impression is that you clearly know how to speak English, which is a given. I wonder if you're a good or a very good speaker. You manage yourself pretty nicely in part 3. I would say 7.5. So there should be 2 7s and 2 8s.
Yeah.
And you could just throw these 7s and these 8s in whichever categories that you want. I don't think there's a specific allocation of these scores, but you sound like a 7.5 in my opinion.
Yeah. So what do you think that I should do in order to, get to a better band score? Like, in terms of my fluency and coherence, what do you think I should be doing? And in terms of my pronunciation, in terms of my lexical resource and grammar? I want to get maybe more detailed feedback, I think.
Well, the thing is that you only made one mistake that stood out for me.
Yeah.
So there isn't much more I can say with regard to mistakes.
Yeah.
I can give you the overall impression. As I've mentioned, you sound like someone who know how to speak English, which is a given at this point. Your pacing was natural, but there were certain parts where you resorted to that rhythm of saying one or two words at a time, and the ideas that you were trying to convey were not super complicated. So I actually expected a different rhythm for these ideas, but I understood everything you said. Now, if you want to get to a higher band score, let's say an 8 in my opinion, then how should I say this? Like, it's really hard to give someone an 8 just based on speaking part 3, because there's also that element of stamina in speaking part 2. So if you can navigate like 2 minutes of a long turn, without making too many horrendous mistakes, then you sound like an 8. You were only able to like deliver answers that were around 30 seconds to 1 minute in length.
Yeah.
So I wonder what you're going to be able to do in speaking part 2.
Yes.
As far as lexical resources are concerned, I mean, you were able to speak your mind, which was nice.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice any, I don't want to say like fancy words, but I needed to hear more specific words that could be used in more specific contexts, or idioms that are used in a versatile kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you used the phrase ace the test, but then you paired it with effortlessly, which was an overkill in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think that you could work on.
Yes. So, yeah, I see. Thank you very much for your feedback. Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Yes.
Hey,
Hello. Like I'm so shy.
so what?
I'm a little nervous. I've never joined into this kind of speaking like this on TikTok.
Oh, well then, I don't know, congratulations. Hold on, give me a moment to address a few questions here. Thầy có
Sure.
speaking advanced không ạ? Có, bạn hãy check cái link trong bio á nhá, của bò tiềm năng này. Okay, down here. Giọng anh hơi na British hả? Giọng mình British rồi nhỉ? Giọng mình là rất là Vinglish ấy. Rất là Việt luôn đấy. Shy. Hana. Hana đã về nhà chưa em? Đã về trọ chưa? Ở đây có một cô 9 đang vào check var này. Thì tôi sẽ block cô ta. Okay. Can we start the test? Do you have a goal in mind? Em có điểm target nào?
I wish I can get the 7 band in the speaking. That is because I plan to get the 7 overall. So if I can manage to get the speaking 7, then I might be able to fulfill that desire.
Aiming for a 7 in speaking and a 7 overall as well.
Yeah.
Em sẽ đi thi vào hôm nào? Khi nào?
On the 23rd of April.
3 tháng nữa. Alright, we'll see what you can bring to the table. In the first part of the test, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Let's talk about Typing. Do you prefer typing or handwriting?
I've never think about typing or handwriting before. For me, as a uni student, I have to manage to both mastering like fast typing and fast handwriting. But for me, if I have to choose one, it would be typing because it helped me, uh, you know, uh, correct my word better. Because if you writing by hand, you have to erasing it and you have to write it again. But in the laptop or smartphone, it would be easier for you to do that.
When did you first learn how to type on a keyboard?
It would it would be on my high school when my mom gave me a laptop. It was my first time touching to that high technology devices like that. It was a gift on my birthday, and I'm so eager. I was so eager at that time to discover that new device.
Thank you. Well then, what kinds of things do you often type about, often write about using your keyboard?
That question reminded me to my old habit of writing diary secretly on Facebook. I usually post a lot of private story of my own, like a diary, on Facebook, and then keep it in the private function, not public it to everyone. So I mainly typing those small story, like it's a little corner of my habit.
Thank you. Feedback luôn nhá.
Yeah.
Rõ ràng nó rất dài này. Phát âm dễ nghe, từ vựng gọi là cũng phù hợp. Chỉ có cảm giác là nó hơi thế nào nhỉ? Tức là nó chưa có điểm sáng nào ấy, về từ vựng ấy. Có thể em sẽ dùng một vài cái từ gọi là hay ho như thế nào đấy để tức là dùng được trong cái bối cảnh này. Ví dụ như là khi mà nói về writing, typing đi đúng không? Typing thì có từ vựng nào kiểu hay không nhỉ? Thôi cái bài vừa rồi nghe là hiểu được hết ấy. Nhưng mà một phần là cũng là vì chỉ hỏi mỗi vấn đề đấy thôi, nên là cũng không có nhiều cơ hội lắm để show những cái từ vựng đặc trưng liên quan đến phần typing ở đây. Typing speed này, cái phần write a blog cũng ok, chi tiết ok, nhưng mà hơi thiếu một vài từ điểm nhấn. Nhưng mà có thể là đấy là vì cái bản chất đề này nó chẳng có gì để mà nói. Có một số đề nó sẽ có cái gọi là cái range từ vựng nó tự nhiên nó phù hợp hơn, nó đa dạng hơn. Thì cái bài này, cái đề này không phải như vậy. Một số lỗi nhỏ như này, nhá. Have never think about, nó phải là have never thought about.
Yeah.
Không? So I have to erasing it. Tự nhiên lại rời ra cái chữ ing, thế là thôi.
Erase.
I have to erase it. Tiếp theo nhá, đó là taught me to that. Đấy là mẹ là làm gì cơ? Con cái máy đấy.
Thật ra câu đó em chỉ nói đơn giản là mẹ mua, sau đó em kiểu tự học rồi các mày mò kiểu các thứ. Lúc đó em có một cái từ đó là kiểu nghịch ngợm xung quanh cái laptop đó, nhưng em không có biết một cái từ nào để miêu tả cái hành động kiểu mình khám phá cái thiết bị á, cho nên là em cũng hơi struggle đoạn đó, kiểu dùng từ của em giờ em nhắc lại em cũng không nhớ luôn. Nhưng mà cái ấn tượng lúc đó là ông nói là mình sẽ nghịch ngợm hoặc là khám phá cái thiết bị máy tính đó. But I don't have a specific word to describe straightforward that feeling.
Chắc là mẹ mua đúng không? So she bought that laptop. Hay là bought cái gì nhỉ? Laptop à?
Dạ đúng rồi.
Okay, so she bought that laptop for me. And cái từ ấy mô tả thế nào nhỉ? Nghịch quanh nó.
Đại lại là kiểu nghịch ngợm một chút rồi học cách mày mò, khám phá, tự khám phá, chứ mẹ cũng không chỉ được nhiều anh.
Fiddle thường là fiddle kiểu như này. Lướt thì fiddle. Nhưng mà cái đấy là dành cho smartphone là chính. Fiddle the phone. Mình thì nghĩ là cái phiên đổi phù hợp cho smartphone hơn. Còn nếu mình sẽ nói là giả sử nếu mà mình nói sẽ nói kiểu này, không biết là có đúng từ không nhá. Alright, so my mom bought me that laptop, and well, she didn't know anything about it, so it was up to me to figure out what I could do, and I was just playing around with the device, trying to click on all the buttons to see what was going to happen, and over time I managed to get a grasp of how to use the laptop efficiently. Đấy, anh sẽ mô tả sẽ nói kiểu như vậy. Play
Nhưng mà
around.
thực ra là những cái cụm từ anh đọc mà em có thể nghĩ là em đều biết, nhưng mà why I don't know, like when I'm actually speaking I couldn't think of those phrases. Do you have any tips or advice for me in that circumstances?
Well, it happens. It's just that for more experienced speakers like me, it happens less often.
Less often.
Liên quan đến thói quen thôi. Một là em cần phải thói quen mô tả. Cái mô tả thì nó đúng là không phải là cái chuyện em nói về là muốn nói về ý đấy nhưng mà không nói được ấy. Cái chuyện đấy nó bình thường ấy. Chỉ là với những cái người skillful speaker thì có thể họ sẽ né nó ra bằng, thay vì là chết vào một từ ấy, thì người ta sẽ cố gắng là nói vòng quanh nó. Đấy. Rồi anh không biết là cái kiểu gọi là chơi vòng quanh là cái gì đâu, tự nhiên mình nói quen là play around with the device to figure out what I could do.
Lúc đầu em tính dùng từ đó luôn, nhưng mà em sợ từ đó là kiểu nó nghiêng về nghĩa đen quá, sợ nó không có đúng. Kiểu nhiều khi em lúc em speaking em có một nỗi sợ là em tự chế từ, vì có nhiều cái từ tiếng Việt nó rất là tự nhiên, nhưng mà em không chắc là, thứ nhất là trong tiếng Anh em cũng không có tìm được một từ nào mang sắc thái tương tự. Em có thói quen chế từ, em sợ nó bị sai, kiểu vậy.
Cái nỗi sợ đấy thì chịu thôi, biết làm nào được. Cái đấy là hoàn toàn là thoải mái. Nó có xảy ra ấy, thì cái play around đấy không phải chế từ đâu, nó là thật sự là một cụm, nó nghĩa là you just play around to see what's gonna happen. Đấy, không có thể mô tả hơn một chút thế nào là play around. Ý là play around là kiểu chơi ấy, nghịch ấy. Nó nghĩa thế mà. Đấy, mà đúng là cái vụ chế từ nó cũng là một cái vấn đề gọi là nan giải, đúng không? Trước thì anh overcome cái chuyện chế từ như nào nhỉ? Ngày xưa thì anh hay nói lại những cái gì mà anh đã nói và dùng từ vựng tốt hơn để nói về nó. Ví dụ như là thể đến từ việc là em lấy idea của người khác, hoặc là em lại có người chữa bài cho chẳng hạn. Đấy, thì có cái phần đấy thôi. Còn thực ra là vẫn phải có một cái mức độ gọi là dũng cảm nhất định để gọi là đôi khi là combine từ sai rồi dùng từ khác để có người chỉ ra lỗi sai cho mình ấy. Rất bình thường, chỉ là đừng để bị chết ở cái từ đấy là được. Anh nghĩ là như thế. Nếu mà biết rồi, tức là đôi khi mình đúng là phải gọi là cái leap of faith ấy, là có cái niềm tin là mình nghĩ là ok, nói là ok thì cứ nói thử đi, xong rồi nếu mà không được thì mình dùng từ khác thôi.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I feel much more comfortable right now.
Sure. Có muốn test tiếp không?
Dạ thôi, em thấy có nhiều bạn đăng ký để cho các bạn có cơ hội lên.
Okay, fine.
Okay, thank you.
Ủa, Hana có chắc chắn là muốn lên đấy. Sợ lên lại càn quét. Hai đứa flop nói chuyện với nhau. Sợ accept của Hana chạy luôn. Xem nha. Nếu như mà Hana vẫn còn muốn lên thì comment vào đây, tôi sẽ gọi cô lên. Còn nếu không mình sẽ gọi bạn khác. Tạm thời mình gọi bạn khác vậy nhá.
Hi teacher.
Hello, have we talked?
No. This is the first time I'm here.
Okay, fine. So, with regard to the IELTS speaking test, have you got any question for me?
No.
Really? No question?
No. Wait, is this part of the test?
No, I'm just talking.
Okay.
Có nhu cầu test gì không? Thi thế nào? Điểm target thế nào?
And I was aiming for the 6.5, and I was planning to take the test in a couple months. So I would just want to test my current level.
Okay, fine. Well, then in the first part of the test, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Not necessarily about yourself, but that's supposed to be the introductory line to speaking part 1. Let's talk about scenery. Do you like to take scenery pictures?
Ooh. Not necessarily about myself, but speaking generally, many people enjoy taking scenery photos, and I'm one of them. I do like taking pictures of scenery, especially when I travel or visit new places. I'm particularly drawn to natural landscapes, such as mountains, beaches, or lakes, because they are visually calming and make good memories, I guess. I don't take photos professionally, but I do enjoy capturing scenery as a way to preserve the moments and appreciate the beauty of different environments.
Thank you. Well, then, do you look out the window at the scenery when traveling by bus or car?
I don't really look out the window, but I think that it's a good way for us to, observe the scenery as we moving along the way to our location. And I think might like looking out the window might be the good choice.
Well, then, do you prefer views of the mountains or the sea?
Yes. I say that I slightly prefer the sea. I find the coastal views more calming because of the open space and the sound of the waves, which really helps me relax. That said, I also appreciate mountain scenery, especially for hiking or escaping the busy city life, as it feels peaceful and refreshing in a different way.
Okay, well, that should be it for the first part. You paused a bit too long for speaking part 1.
Oh, okay.
You don't really have to, see the entire answer through right from the get-go. But you do need to have a sort of reflex to, these, well, seemingly simple questions, because in speaking part 1, the questions are mostly about you and what you want to do, what you prefer spending your time on, right? So you get to think about what you want to say, but your pauses were way too long
Okay.
for part 1.
Um,
I thought that your first answer was fine, although it was a tad long, but it was not something that I would penalize you on. But your second answer was not up to par. It was too short, and it
okay.
ended way too abruptly.
Okay. Okay.
Right? And you didn't exactly, you gave me an answer, but there weren't enough extensions to give me a good impression. And you were essentially just going back and forth between like random words because you couldn't really make up your mind about what you wanted to talk about. So you just went like this.
Okay. Okay.
So the answer could have been made a bit clearer
Okay.
had you just made up your mind. And it's a very important piece of advice that when it comes to the speaking test, you get to, like be confused and have a hard time making up your mind. But what you should do is pushing the message forward, right? Push the message forward. For instance, do you look out the window at the scenery when traveling by bus or car? What was your answer again?
I don't really particularly looking at the window, but I think that it's just a, good way to observe the whole thing.
Fine. Well, then, if you don't really have an answer, you can say, I'm not quite sure because, I don't travel by bus or car that often. I guess when I am, when I'm in a car, trying to get to somewhere, I tend to, just focus on, what's on my device. So that means I don't really look out the window to see, what the streets are like and things like that. Now, as for traveling by bus, I honestly don't know because I don't travel by bus that often, but it's something that a lot of people do. Some people say that, when they have nothing going on, they just look into the abyss and just let their mind drift.
Oh, okay.
So I think that like in the speaking test, there is that position that you don't want to be in, which is you don't really know what to say because you have never been in a situation.
Yeah.
But then you still have to answer the damn question. So that would be my advice. Like, I think that your pronunciation is very clear, but your fluency wasn't really that great because, like, you were in your head during that particular answer, and the examiner wanted you to be out of your head and in the conversation.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so if you don't know what to say, you can just tell the examiner that, well, to be honest, I don't even know if I do that because, first of all, I don't travel by either of these means of transport that often. When I do, when I do go somewhere, by car, I often just look at my device. I only look at the road when there's a traffic jam or something like that.
Okay.
As for traveling by bus, the last time I did that was like many moons ago, like when I was just a high school kid, and I guess at the time I was always tired, so I spent most of my bus journeys sleeping instead of looking at the streets. So you can say something like that, or you can say, well, I don't do this, but well, other people do that. Okay. Yeah, that's if that. I feel like there's no point doing speaking part 3 because from your answers there, I can already give you a score.
Okay.
And that's a very dangerous thing,
Oh.
When you do the speaking test, if you know how to, strike the chord with the examiner right from the beginning, then you're gonna have a very easy time, scoring the score that you want to get.
Okay.
But if you misread the room, it's gonna be an uphill battle. And oftentimes it's a battle you cannot win.
Okay. Oh.
So, do you want to know the evaluation in terms of score?
Yeah. Yes, please.
I have to say, I mean, you have a solid pronunciation. You sound like someone who can speak English.
Thank you.
But the way that you delivered the second answer gave me a really negative impression.
Oh,
On a really bad day, I would give you a 5.5, not because of your pronunciation, but because of the fact that I asked you a very simple question, and that was enough to perplex you.
Okay.
Right? So that's a 5.5, a nasty 5.5, a 5.5 that is so undeserving. But that's why you have to be careful with even your speaking part 1 questions. You can't really, afford to like make everything complicated there. You also cannot afford to, just give a one-liner and expect the examiner to give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Yeah, today's not a good day, that's all.
Oh. Thank you, teachers.
Okay. That should be it for now then. Good luck, perhaps. Somewhere down the line, he'll be able to improve. Or maybe just tomorrow. He'll find his groove again. But today, today is not his day. One more person and then I'm gonna hit the sack. My God.
Hello, hi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, teacher.
Do you have a goal? What do you want to achieve?
Short term, I want to have a solid 7.5. Long term, as far as I can go, maybe an 8 or 8.5. But I know I need a lot of practice for that.
Well, then before that, let's talk about that 7.5. Have you got a date for the test?
So I haven't booked it, but hopefully in 3 to 4 months.
Okay, well then, that's fine. The real issue is how you're gonna deal with the aftermath of that holiday.
True. Been so lazy, man.
Yeah. Well then, in the first part of the test, I'd like to ask you a few questions about yourself. Let's talk about walking. Do you walk a lot?
Yes, I do. I try to maintain a 30-minute walk every day because it's advised by my doctor. He thinks it's really good for my health and specifically my knee joint. I used to have some problems with my spine before, so walking did really help me to improve my overall well-being.
Well then, did you often go outside to have a walk when you were a child?
More like on the treadmill because currently it's kind of like really hot and really polluted where I'm living. So I'm not really comfortable walking outside. And also I feel like I'm more energetic when I go to the gym, seeing other people also work out is kind of like motivate me to, do more exercise. And I mean, yeah, for the walking stuff, yeah.
Let me guess, you're in Hanoi.
No, I'm in Ho Chi Minh City.
Oh wow. Ho Chi Minh
Yeah.
City is polluted as well?
Yes, for me, I think it's too humid and the dust in the air is really frustrating me at the moment.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you, an update that you didn't ask for. Here in Hanoi, we are going through some major infrastructural development. Houses in like one street along one street have been demolished, and so tons of dust have been releasing into the air, and it's got so bad that sometimes when you look up at the sky, you see dark clouds. Like the sky just becomes so gloomy, but you can't tell if it's going to rain or if it's just the dust accumulating,
Oh no.
in the sky. So that's what we have what we have what we have exposure to here in Hanoi. And well, I can relate to you on a personal level because I do think that, going for a walk in Hanoi right now is also in a way hazardous, because
This is torture. Don't do it.
Okay, let's continue. Still walking. Where do people in your area often go when they go out for a walk?
Yeah, I would say like the local sport centers because we don't have that many park or green space in the neighborhood that I'm living in. So yeah, and also I'm living more like to the city center where it's really hot and people are very busy. So most of the time they just, prefer to take a walk in, very well equipped sports centers.
Well, so far so good. I don't recall you making any mistake for these three questions. So, well, you were off to a good start. Oh my God. Okay. I wonder why my energy is so low today. Or maybe it's because it's 11:30.
So your battery already dropped? Almost zero? Your social battery.
Yeah.
Oh no. You must have a long day.
I'm not quite sure why I haven't got a long day though, but I did have a stupendous lesson in the afternoon. Oftentimes, that particular class tends to be really, chaotic and disorganized. But I managed to, pack the lesson in a given amount of time, in the amount of time that I was given. And everybody seemed to understand what was going on, right?
Okay.
But after that, I don't know what happened. I mean,
There are days you will feel really drained. You don't even know why. It's okay.
if I ask Google right now, it's probably going to give me something like you got cancer.
Don't trust the online doctor. They are not reliable.
You do realize that in a way I am an online doctor in terms of IELTS.
No, I think you have professional knowledge and you give advice case to case, not like generalize people or symptoms. So yeah, it's better.
Okay, fine. Let's move on to speaking part 3. In this part of the test, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Hold on. I'm messing up the lines here. Oh my God, what's the introductory line for speaking part 3? In this part of the test, I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 general questions related to what you have not been talking about. Okay, now let's talk about teaching. Do you think, hold on. Teaching. I need to select a good question to start off this discussion.
Hopefully not
What
a
are
very
the
difficult
ways?
one.
What are the ways with which teachers can make their classes fun?
Um, I would say in this modern society, definitely have something to do with digital tools in order to plan creative lessons. I think that teacher can utilize special visual effects and sound effects in order to make the student more engaged with their lessons. Also, I think that teachers or educators in general can join more professional development course in order to tailor even better lesson plans for the students. It's also important that they understand the learning objectives and the target students so they can deliver suitable lessons.
But then do you think that it's always better to make classes fun?
Well, I think fun is important as long as it doesn't go too far. So I think that when the classes are the atmosphere are really energized and the student will feel more motivated to studies and they don't get that sleepy mood. So yeah, it's important for teachers to make sure that their classes are interesting and thrilling. However, if they make it way too much jokes or inappropriate laughters, then I think that is not okay, and that gonna waste the time at school for some students.
I had ice cream earlier this evening. It was supposed to give me, that sort of like sugar rush, but it didn't happen. I wonder what's wrong with my body. Okay. Well, I thought that your answers were fine, but I do have to say that it was not as natural sounding as what you did in part 1. So, for instance, for the very first question, you said something about the fact that teachers should probably organize this and that, and then teachers and educators should join in courses that can enhance their skills and things of that nature. The idea was fine, but the way that you delivered that answer didn't really strike the right chord for me in terms of rhythm. You were saying things like, okay, they can join in more courses that can improve their skills and whatnot. That's not a good rhythm to display. All right, you need to cut that out of the way that you speak. My advice is to think complete thoughts before putting them out there. And that's a very important habit to develop. You were able to do that in part 1, but in part 3 perhaps you went for a very complex idea. So you chopped that idea into like 10,000 pieces of information. That didn't work in your favor because I felt like you were translating Vietnamese ideas into English words at the back of your mind, right? So can you say that again? Something or another about what teachers and educators should do.
So, like, what is really on my mind right now? I would say they definitely need help of digital tools in order to catch up with today, so modern society, and I think it's just hard. I always struggle when it's come to part 3 IELTS questions.
Enough. I don't care. Look, not I don't care. Sorry. I need you to keep you on track. You're backpedaling and you're finding an easy way out. Just focus on that particular idea. I'm not asking you to move a mountain. I'm just asking you to essentially say what you have just said or something along the line of that. But when you're explaining yourself, don't go through one word at a time as you did. Try to go through a phrase. Try to go up and down. Okay? One more time.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. So it's also pivotal for educator to, join in more personal development course in order to bring about even more creative lesson plans and can attract more students in their, lectures.
Lessons.
Lessons, yeah.
You need a lecturer to deliver lectures. If you're like just ordinary people and you give somebody a lecture, it means that you're trying to zap down. You're trying to zap down, right?
Yeah.
Like, who are you to lecture me? That's often a complaint. It has a negative connotation. I thought it was fine, but I didn't like the way that you deliver the phrase in order to. That should be, a breeze, like in order to, not in order to. It's just in order to.
Okay, so something about intonation.
Maybe.
Okay.
In order to. Can I say that again? In order to.
In order to.
Okay, fine. Right, so that's the first. Hold on, let me check other notes. The atmosphere is really energized. That's not the way to do it. You can say, when it comes to the atmosphere, you can say something like the atmosphere is livened up.
Oh yeah.
It's livened up, or the atmosphere becomes a lot more, lively.
Oh yeah, lively. Yeah.
Right. Vibrant, but vibrant sounds more like
nightlife.
Yeah, nightlife in an urban center. All right, and then inappropriate laughters. Oh, what kind of laughter is inappropriate?
Well, some jokes can be really unsuitable in a classroom setting. So that's what I wanna say.
There's no such thing that is an inappropriate laughter.
Okay.
You say, yeah, I do agree. Some jokes are inappropriate in the context of a classroom or a lesson, and your teachers do need to, keep an eye out for inappropriate jokes because some of us are very, humorous, and we might take things a bit too far. But not all laughter is good laughter. Right? Especially if it means that the kids are not exactly, taking you seriously as their teacher and their leader in the context of a class. Okay. All right, that's a bit for then. Look, for that particular part then, I thought that you hit the ground running with part 1. That was nice. But then you sort of fumbled the ball in speaking part 3, which was a shame. So I understand that you have a struggle with part 3. Believe me, it happens to the best of us. It's just that if you want to have a 7.5, you definitely need to get to grips with it. There's no other way. right?
Yeah.
And do you remember what I just told you with regard to the way that you deliver your answers?
Yeah.
What did I tell you?
So you said some phrases, it was not really natural.
Sure, I feel like you're missing the forest for the trees. What did I say regarding the way that you speak?
The rhythm of way. You say something about a rhythm, right?
Yes.
So you say that I was saying one word and then I pause and it doesn't sound like it's really smooth, like
Yes.
part one.
Yes, I felt like you were translating at the back of your mind. So that's something that you need to get to grips with. It happens to the best of us, when we're given really hard questions and we really need some time to articulate our thoughts, right? There's nothing wrong with it. But when you did it so like ostensibly like that, well, it caught my attention. Now, if you want to improve your score, well, you just improve the quality of the way that you speak in general. One of the things that you can do is to develop this habit of learning complete ideas instead of just one or two words at a time. Okay?
Yes.
So whenever you feel like, okay, I am just going through one or two words at a time, well then I need to change my delivery. Okay?
So learn more phrases.
Not more phrases. I think that you have already developed that particular habit. What I want you to work on is develop ideas. So ideas are different from phrases because ideas contain phrases and grammatical structure as well, right? So you can say, I think that teachers can join in courses that help them develop their skills. That makes perfect sense. But the thing is that when that sentence is chopped like that, you can tell that the person is trying to connect the dots, even though the idea itself is very easy, right? So you have like grammar phrases like I think that teachers should, right? That's just grammar. So you can say, well, I think that teachers should, or you can say that, well, I think one of the things that teachers can do is sign up for courses that help them to enhance their professional skills, right? So that's one complete idea. One thing that teachers can do, that's one complete idea, right? One thing that teachers can do is signing up for courses that enhance their skills. To sign up for courses, that's a phrase. Okay, that's a phrase that can enhance their professional skills. That's also a phrase. But these two phrases should not always be separated, especially if this is something that you have talked about several times. Your delivery of that part should be something like, well, I think one of the things that teachers can do is signing up for courses that can enhance their professional skills. I mean, there are lots of courses like that on the internet that they can sign up for ones provided by Coursera, or just watch Khan Academy videos, and they can learn different techniques to organize classroom activities and manage the students. Okay.
Got it.
So yeah, you have already known how to learn phrases. That's not a problem. The problem is that when you speak, don't just focus on phrases, because sometimes you might end up like you're trying to put the pieces together as you speak, which is not a good thing.
Got it.
Right. So before we go, do you have any question?
So estimated band of like for my speaking right now, like can you suggest me a number?
I actually thought that you were 7.5 in part 1, but then in part 3, I would say 7 because of how you chopped that particular sentence into one too many pieces.
Got it. So for my part one, oh yeah, like so 7.5. So one thing I can improve about it probably is my vocabulary. Like how can I boost it to a higher band? Any suggestion?
Well, you can just do what you normally do, learning new words, and try to and try to use them as often as possible. But it's not just about new words. It's more about the way that you deliver them. If you learn new words and you still chop your complete ideas into 20,000 pieces, it's not going to make a difference. You need to work on your delivery. Like instead of your 1 or 2 words at a time, make sure you give me a solid 10 words, right? 10 words, and try to go over the same idea again and again, so that you acquire that habit of, okay, I need to think things through before getting the words out.
Got it.
That's all.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully, maybe I try to practice, and then before I have a test, I come back. Hopefully, I will already improve a little bit. Hopefully.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much, teacher. Thank you for your feedback. It was really nice of you. It was really kind of you.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Well,
you. Bye-bye.
people, that's all the time we have for today. I'm struggling to keep my eyes peeled. So, hôm nay sẽ nghỉ ở đây thôi nha. Ok. Buồn ngủ quá. Bye bye.